How you doing today? My name's Dave Whipple. Welcome back to the channel. If you're brand new to the channel, I've been on YouTube for 8 years now. I run a channel called Bush Radical with over 1 million subscribers. And YouTube has been my full-time occupation for about the last 5 years. Today what I want to do is I want to talk to new YouTubers, people just getting started. Maybe you've got some videos out, maybe you're just getting ready to start your YouTube career. What do you need to know? Well, I've got 3 things today that I think are going to be very beneficial for you to hear, accept, acknowledge, and operate under. So let's dive right into it. 3 things every new YouTuber needs to know. Number 1, start. Start. If there is one regret I have about YouTube, it's that I should have started earlier, should have started sooner. And I don't really feel bad about how long my journey took on YouTube or the time that I started YouTube. But I will say this, I missed a lot of things that I wish I would have been filming at the time. So many interesting projects, interesting experiences that would have done well, would have been good videos that performed well. They're in the past, and they're not only in the past, they're before I started YouTube. And I think, man, if I would have only been on the platform filming at that time, I could have captured a lot of those things. Not only is YouTube a great opportunity, it's a good place to make a living, it's a place to have a very satisfying career, but it's also a video diary in a way. You can look back at your YouTube videos and see what you were doing at any given time. And it's like a photo album. It's like a journal. It's saving some of the history in your life of where you've been and what you've done and the things you've experienced in digital format, saved on the internet forever, hopefully. So I wouldn't say it's a regret so much that I didn't start sooner, but I am regretful of the things I wish I would have been able to share had I started sooner. So if you're sitting there today and you're on the fence about getting into YouTube, you've been hemming and hawing, I get it, man, because that's where I was at too. I spent a lot of time thinking, I would like to start a YouTube channel. This would be fun. I think I could do a good job with it. I would like to add my 2 cents to all of these subjects that I find interesting, but I didn't do it until 2017. I probably, technologically, where I was at, what I knew how to do, I probably could have got into YouTube probably 2010, 2011. My wife, Brooke, she'd been working in film. She shot a documentary on the Mount Marathon race in Seward, Alaska. And we always had a camera around the house, and we did have a good computer to edit on. I just used it to shop eBay. So a lot of missed opportunities there. You know, I could have been part of YouTube up and running 7 years before I was. So if you're just kicking the idea around, don't kick it around anymore. Even if your first 10, 15, 30 videos aren't going to be that good because you don't know what you're doing, which if you're brand new, you probably don't. Just get started. Just get started. Start banging out videos. Go through my catalog on this channel and get the best ideas that make sense to you from those videos and use that as a kind of an operating system to make good choices of what to film and good editing decisions and good thumbnail and title decisions, but just get started. Number 2, this is another thing that brand new YouTubers need to wrap their head around. It's not about the gear. It's not. There are so many channels out there on YouTube that are dedicated to gear reviews, microphones, cameras, editing software, apps, you name it. And there is a tendency in a lot of fields to always feel like You're handicapped because you don't have the best stuff, the best gear. Now, my background before I got into YouTube, one of the things that I could share as an example that would make sense in this context, I've always been a musician. I've been playing guitar since I was 14, so that's 35 years ago. And I played in a couple bands. I've recorded, I've been on several albums that have been recorded. And one thing I have learned from that industry is it's not about the gear in that field. Some of the best music has been recorded with cheap budget gear. Some of the really, really popular songs that have stood the test of time were made with cheap stuff. It really isn't about the gear. Here's a good example for you. The band Led Zeppelin, probably their most famous song is Stairway to Heaven. The guitar part, the acoustic guitar part, in the beginning of Stairway to Heaven, Jimmy Page played that on a Harmony acoustic guitar, which was made in Chicago back in the 60s, and it was a very cheap guitar. Even back then, it probably wasn't more than $100. And if you wanted to buy one today on the vintage guitar market, $500 or $600 will buy you a Harmony Sovereign, which is the brand and the model of the guitar he played on Stairway to Heaven. Very inexpensive for vintage gear, a vintage guitar, and it was a very inexpensive guitar to start with. But that song is one of the most popular songs of the last 60 years. Not the gear. It's not the gear. For example, I have a video on this channel that runs down the gear that I'm using, and it's all very simple. This microphone here, for example, is a Samson Q2U. It's about $60. You can find them on eBay used for $30 quite often. I'm shooting on an iPhone, which is a hand-me-down. It belonged to I think my daughter had it first, and then my wife had it. Great picture. The phone shoots great video. And before that, I had a Canon camcorder that I bought brand new when I first started the channel, and it was a $500 camera. It was about a $1,000 camera, to be honest, but I bought it as a refurbished model from BH Photo, which is a big online camera retailer. And I grew to 900,000 subscribers with that $500 camera. And to add to that, I also had a little flip out Sony camera, which I think I bought for $60 on eBay. And I've had a few other little camcorders, the small bodied camcorders. And they all turn out a pretty good product. It's about the value of the subject material that you're shooting, how interesting it is, how informative it is, or how inspiring it is. And it's about the shots that you get. It's about not wasting people's time, making a video that's got a lot of value without being 3 hours long, less time, more value. It's not about the gear. I also edit on a MacBook computer. The first MacBook I had was also a hand-me-down. And I think I had a pencil in it and shut it and busted the screen after 2 years of using that computer. I broke the screen somehow anyway. So I went to a pawn shop in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I bought another MacBook. And I used that MacBook until 2023, and it was a 2011 MacBook. At the pawn shop, I think I paid $250 for it. Most everybody's got as good of a computer as what I used for the majority of the time I've been on YouTube. So I hope if you're just getting started and you're freaked out about, if I don't have the best gear, I won't have a great channel. That's not the case. It's just a tool. It's just a tool to capture the video, capture the audio. It's much, much more about what you film, how you film it, how you can cut the garbage out and make something that's potent and interesting and useful. And it really has very little to do with the gear. Whatever camera you got right now is probably good enough. Whatever computer you have right now is probably good enough. I'll go one step farther on this too and say that in the world of editing software, I've run into a lot of people who get really high-end editing software, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, and those are very powerful, very professional level editing softwares, and they can be overwhelming to learn. So when you're starting out, use the camera you got, use the computer you have, and get the most basic, free, or the cheapest editing software, CapCut, iMovie, something like that. It's not about the gear, so don't let that be a hang up. Just get started. Don't worry about the gear. Let's move on to number 3. Number 3, if you're just starting out or you're just thinking about starting out, do not fall into the idea, the trap, that putting out a lot of content is going to grow your channel, because it isn't. It's going to water down your brand. I don't really like to put it that way, but that is the way it works. It's going to water down your brand and your perceived value if you have 300 videos and only 100 subs. People can look at those two numbers and see that you don't do very good work. Don't shoot for quantity. Shoot for quality. And you can do that by spending most of your time figuring out a subject that you want to film, that is in your wheelhouse, that has a broad appeal to a lot of people. Most of your time spent shouldn't be filming or editing. It should be making sure you're filming and editing the right thing. The idea that putting out a video every day, or I got to put a video out every week, or to go one step farther, the idea that I've got to put it out at the same time every week, like a television show, those ideas won't get you anywhere. They're not going to work. Don't fall into that trap. Quantity, being busy, producing a lot of content, being omnipresent, you're always there, every time somebody kicks on the computer, they're seeing your new video, which they won't probably. And that the more you put out is the more you're progressing. It's a very easy mindset to adopt, but it's wrong. Get rid of that. You don't want that floating around your head. You can't put out 1 million videos and become the biggest YouTuber ever, because you're not going to get any prize, gold star, blue ribbon from having a lot of junky videos. Nobody cares. There's already too much stuff to watch in this world, too many podcasts to listen to, too many YouTubers out there, too many shows on Netflix and Disney Plus and cable and whatever. Last thing the world needs is another YouTuber who comes onto the scene and wants to put a video out every 24 hours. Don't do it. It's not going to help you. It's the worst idea in the world you can adopt, because it's going to force you to always be under pressure to produce more. You're not going to be able to put the time and effort into crafting a good, solid, evergreen, useful video if you're banging them out every day or every other day, or for some people, even once a week. Don't fall into that trap. Quantity is a lie. Quantity is a dead-end road. Don't do it. You're not going to keep the algorithm happy, like a lot of people think. They've got this idea that the algorithm, whatever that is, wants you to be cranking out material all the time. Don't fall into the idea of I'm gaining momentum because I'm staying busy. All of that's BS. All of it is. You'd be better off, by far, and I mean so much better off, if you decided to make one great video. Take 2 months. Take 3 months. Get all the shots. Get all the information. Make sure it's on a subject that's got a 10 million view potential. Pour all your effort into one video. Do the absolute best edit you can, and then put that video out into the world. It's better to have one video that's got 1 million views than it is to have 1,000 videos that each have 100 views. 1,000 videos, 100 views, 100,000 views. One video, 1,000,000 views, 1,000,000 views. It's all about quality. So let me recap in 10 seconds. If you're thinking about starting, do it. Don't wait. Get on it right now. Get started. Don't worry about the gear because the gear doesn't matter. And focus on quality, usefulness, watchability, and ignore the temptation to crank out tons and tons of videos thinking that that's going to help you, because it won't. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Dave Whipple. I'll see you on the next one.